3, 2, 1. It is TIFF Workshops. I am here tonight with the grown folks. I am not working with the youngins tonight. Watch Coach BJ and her amazing adults take on some improv. All right. So you guys know what you're doing. 3-line scene. Who you are to each other, where you are, and what is going on. One of you comes in and makes a decision to do the physical work. Then the next one comes in first line, second line, third line, and done. Have fun and do not ask questions. Try not to ask questions. Are you ready? Action.
Don't forget to get the sugar so we can cook some donuts today.
We're not having donuts today. You're on a diet.
Well, I want some sugars anyway.
And scene. All right, so let's talk it out. So you accomplished not asking questions, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so who were they to each other?
Husband and wife grocery shopping.
How do you know they were husband and wife?
The way, I don't.
Did he say anything that made you think they were husband and wife?
I'm trying to recall.
The answer is no. They did not establish who they are to each other, okay? Where are they?
Initially, I thought she was vacuuming when she first came out, but then I said, oh, maybe she has a sharpened car.
Okay, but did she tell you where she was?
She did not.
So she did not establish where they were.
Okay.
What's going on in the scene?
They grocery shopping and look like.
Okay, but that sounds like a question mark.
Yeah.
So based on the audience's responses, we did follow the instructions in terms of physical activity and 3 lines, but we were unsuccessful in our who, what, and where, what's going on, right? So let's try it again. Completely different scenario. Maybe this time then you come in with the physical work. Keep in mind, within those 3 lines, you should establish who you are to each other, where you are, and specifically what's going on, which will usually shape itself after you answer those first 2 questions. So if we play back the last scenario, give her a little bit more time to do the physical activity, but then you could have come in and say, dear, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then that would have made me think they were husband and wife, right? Or mom, right? And you come in and establish that you're mother and son. Use words to establish who you are and where you are in your lines. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, let's break. Let's try it again. Let's go, let's go, let's go. How y'all doing? Anybody watching tonight? Hi. Here we go. All right, and action.
Three.
Look at those guns, son. You are doing really well with this working out. I think you're going to win that championship.
Yeah, you're the best personal trainer I've had at this gym.
I know.
I am freaking gonna get ripped.
I'm telling you, you want some cakes? I got some pound cake I'm making as a reward.
And see. And see. So, before I ask the audience, I want to ask you two. Who were you to each other? Who did you say you were to him?
His mom.
Who did you make her?
My personal fitness trainer.
So were you listening?
I felt like that could be together.
Okay. That would be confusing to your audience.
Okay.
Right? So if she says son, and she was very intentional about adding that button on at the end, you always agree with your scene partner. So if she said son, instantly that makes her your mom, you go with it. Right? So that's one thing that may have been a little bit confusing.
But this is interesting because
Yes.
initially before she said that, her tone actually made me think she was in a gym, and I thought she was like hitting on him.
Right.
Right? So
That's
crazy. Crazy. But no. But that's a good observation, and this is good response because so here's what happens. You were very intentional about putting that button on the end to say son,
Right.
but it was forced. It wasn't natural
It isn't
because
natural.
everything about what I thought was more physical training because when you first came in, even though you said, look at those guns, you were like, wow, you're really going to do great at this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, okay, she's a coach or she's somebody training him. And then at the end you said son. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so she's his mom, kind of, but she said son, so now they're mom. And then when you came in with coach or whatever you said, then it was like, okay, then the audience is checked out because they're like, they don't even know who they are to each other.
Okay.
So you just have to be more in tune.
Because I was thinking
Yeah.
too, why are you calling me a personal trainer? Just call you son.
It's okay, but you went to the last scene that you all did, just to bring that home, even though you guys didn't ask questions in the last scene, you still disagreed with him. Because he came in and said something about sugar, and you said, no, I'm not, da, 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 da. And he went with it and added the last line. But you want to try to always say yes and, as opposed to, no, I'm not. Oh, you're doing the sugar thing? Yes, but I am also washing the dishes, dear. You know, so always agree and build on it, as opposed to trying to continue with what you were trying to make the scene about, and then shutting it down, because that can make the scene go flat too, or then it's a tit for tat, and then you're just arguing back and forth. Okay, so great job. Yes. Question.
Is it for you to get what your objective is, or
no? Because here's one of the other amazing things about improv, because it's all about agreeing and building on the scene and making your audience want to see more. There's also some lessons about making room for each other. So in that situation, and I'm not saying that this is where your thought process was, it's very natural for us to do this, but let's say that you did start the scene and you were doing this, and you in your mind were like, all right, we are in the kitchen washing dishes. Like, I'm thinking to myself, this is what the scene is about. We are in the kitchen washing dishes. So he's got to say something about dishes, and I got a great response to him. And you're lining up the whole scene in your mind already. And if he comes in and says something and it's no longer you're washing dishes, oh man, I love the way you waxed that tire. That rib is going to be great. Now you just sat over here and prepared this whole scene in your head about washing dishes and blah, 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 blah. And he comes in and he throws you off. So it's not about going for your objective. It's about agreeing, and it's just going to make for a better scene when you get out of your head and don't try to plan it out. Because then if that's the case, then why not just do scripted acting? Yeah. Because you're basically trying to write the script and edit it and everything right there before he even comes in. And you can't say, boy, I ain't washing no dishes. I ain't waxing no tie. This is a dish fool. What you talking about? You can still make that comedic and make your audience want to see more of it. But 9 times out of 10, when your nerves are kicked in and all of that, and you're playing out this scene in your head, if your scene partner comes in and throws you off, you're going to be like, okay, we'll go with that. And and then you're just going to be stuck. So just go with the flow and always agree. Yes.
In a show, if that happened, would you say it's because of that person who can't respond to a rejection that the show doesn't go on, or?
It can be 2 parts. So using the same scenario with Elisa, in terms of if she had her heart set on this scene being about dishes, right? And she can't bounce back from you coming in and changing it, she's being selfish as a scene partner. She's trying to steal the show. She's trying to stick to her objective. She's trying to write out the scene. She's not making any room for you to be creative, right? So that's like being a selfish actor. And it's kind of being, some people will call it showboating, whatever it is. Like, this scene is all mine and blah, 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 blah. And so the other side of that is, think about in theater when you have scripted lines, right? And again, using that same scenario, she's supposed to be in the kitchen washing dishes, and then you're supposed to come in and say something, and then she's like sitting there, she's waiting. You have stage fright. You didn't say anything. Now, she could totally just be like, and freeze up herself, or then steal the whole show and make you look bad because you forgot your line, and then just go on with it. Like, there's so many different examples of how we need to learn as actors how to make room for each other, especially in unscripted acting or even live acting. So there's different versions of making room for each other, but you really just want to learn how to always agree, and that's an essential tool for stage acting. If there were any mistakes or hiccups, to be able to roll with the fumbles. You had a question?
No, I was just taking it in.
Great. So the 2 of you are up next. Let's go. Hi, everybody.
Oh, it's live?
It is live. Yes. We're live at the McKinnon Acting Studio tonight. How y'all doing? We at the McKinnon Acting Studio tonight doing some adult acting, but we're really acting like big kids. All right, so we have contestants number 3 and 4 up. So you clearly understand the challenge before you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do not overthink it. Breathe, because get out of your head. Breathe. Remember, it doesn't matter who decides to take the initiative to come in and start the physical work. The other person will come in with the first line. Give them some space to develop that physical work, whoever starts it first, don't just come right in on top of them. Give them a couple of seconds so that you can kind of figure it out. And then come in with your first line, second line, third line, and done. Who you are to each other, where you are, and what is going on in the scene. Make your audience clear on those three things. Action.
So, imagine that you are a butterfly on a winter's day. Your wings are freezing. You see a tree nearby. You wish to nest on it and take your last final breaths there. But oh no, they freeze and you don't make it and you drift. How do you feel?
I didn't make it to my destination. I must rise again.
You're now reborn. You're
And, oh, sorry. Girl, you want to take that thing and go with it. I'm like,
And that's the third line.
cut. I love that. I love that. It was way deep, like way deep, but
we didn't establish. Wait.
so you technically did not establish who you are to each other, but there was some strong implied things there that was kind of unmistakable. So maybe something that you could have said is, yes, sensei.
Yes.
You know, right? clearly established that. But it was almost so obvious in this scene, so that was still good. What I liked about it was that was like the ultimate agreeing. Like, she came with some super deep, hippie, Buddha, what? Like, where is she going with this? But you went with all of it so chill. She was like flapping the wings, and you were like, my wings are flapping, and I'm growing, and I'm going somewhere. And you just like went with the whole thing, and that was so amazing to see you totally agree with her and trust. Because what if she then turned it into, you was about to get up and do, I don't know, monkey pose on one foot or something, whatever. You just went with it, and that was great.
But in my mind, I was somewhere doing yoga.
Right,
So-
right, exactly. So, but we didn't technically establish the who,
Right.
the where. We know, obviously, there was some meditation or some meditation training going on, something like that.
Gotcha.
But it was really strong implied in the answering of those questions, so it still wouldn't have thrown your audience completely off. They probably would have wanted to see more.
Okay.
Yeah, so good job.
Okay.
Good job. Good job. All right. I'm like, is that a real clap? You got a half clap. All right. So we're gonna move on to scripted acting. Improv is done. Okay. Are you ready? Yes. All right. Bye, folks. Hi, Ken.